Joanna Balcom. Joanna Balcom. We need you.
How about this?
Bear with us, everyone. We're getting ready to start here in a minute.
All right. How about now? Is there anything?
Testing 1, 2, 3. That's it.
This one here. All right, this one seems to work without any problems. All right.
Something near that.
Get away from the speaker.
This might actually work now.
Hey, good evening, everyone. We're getting ready to start the Coach Keith Hatcher show. So, if you don't mind, try and keep it a little quiet in here, if you don't mind, so we can all hear Keith. But I'm going ahead. Yes. All right, ready? Where's JT? Oh, okay. All right, well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ace Night here at YourPie. Woo! First shot at this, so everybody bear with us. But we appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We decided, JT and my partner JT Holt and I, we do the play-by-play for Ace football on the NFHS app. And it took us 2 or 3 games to kind of figure out what we're doing. And we're about halfway there, I'd say. But either way, it's been a success. And Coach Keith Hatcher has been a big supporter for us. And we got to talking. It's like, well, why don't we try and do a coach's show? So here we go. We're giving it a shot. Again, tonight we're going to have Coach Keith Hatcher. We're also going to talk to Coach Mark Faraba. And we're also going to talk to Coach Thomas Dara. So, yeah, fun times. So either way, again, we appreciate everybody coming out. And so I'll go ahead and get started. We're just going to pass the mic here because these wireless mics don't like these metal tables. And we're going to open up questions to the audience here in a little bit. The only thing is we're going to have you come up here to get away from the metal tables. Otherwise, it's going to screech everybody's ears out. So first off, Coach, thanks for being with us tonight. How you doing?
Doing great. Appreciate all the Ace supporters coming out. You will be allowed to ask questions, but that does not mean that I'll answer them. Just go ahead and disclose that. But this is awesome. Thank you for the support. Thank you to Chris, who's giving back to us tonight. Let's give him a hand. And just like all season, the support's been overwhelming. It's awesome, so thank you.
So a couple things we're going to do here. Again, we're kind of figuring out what we're doing as we're going. We don't have a monitor, unfortunately, and we can't hook to the TVs. But I've got 3 plays dialed up from the game Friday night that I'm going to ask Keith about. They're going to be running during the show, so when you go watch the show later, you'll see it. But you're not going to see it, neither is he. But he knows what I'm going to be asking about. But, Keith, first off, what I want to get started with is, so, of course, you played quarterback at Mount DeSales. You coached there. Your family's beloved there. But the Ace head coaching job came open, and you accepted it. And tell us about that process and how that played out.
Well, I think I can speak for everyone in Macon that when Ace opened, it was attractive. It was intriguing. I followed Ace's progress. I had a lot of really close friends at Ace. And when I was approached, it was just an exciting opportunity for me. The timing was right for me and my family. And we're glad that it worked out. We're excited about being here and excited about the future. But it was certainly a blessing when that opportunity came about, and the timing just worked out really well for us.
Talk about what it was like building your coaching staff. I mean, you've got a great staff, and you also were able to get Coach Faraba. Talk about what it was like putting your staff together.
Well, I think that was all, a matter of timing as well. Coach Faraba has been a good friend and mentor of mine for a long time. At the time, he was going through a transition, so it was a blessing for me. And a very easy ask. Really glad that he accepted the opportunity to come over. He's awesome for us. He kind of keeps the rest of our staff in line on a daily basis, which we need. I also had a previous relationship with Coach Dara prior to coming to Ace. He and I had talked a few times, so that was an easy transition into the staff as well. And we've been fortunate to keep a few of the assistants that were here previously. We recently added Hank Avery right here, who will probably eat more pizza than anybody in the room tonight. He was a great addition to the staff in the weight room and on the field. We got Paul Johnson here, you've been here since the start of the program, right, Paul? We got Coach Schofield in the back. Who's a fan favorite. Are any of our other coaches here that I haven't seen? Troy might as well be part of the coaching staff. We got Troy in the house as well. But we've got a great staff. We have a lot of fun, and we work well together. And it's been exciting as we have meshed more as a staff. And in year 2, it's been really good for us, and we're looking forward to the future. So. Yeah, I was going to hold that for the end, but yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay. All right, so talk a little bit about what's been the most challenging part of getting this program going, would you say?
Well, I think that, the school was so new, really athletics was still new. From a football standpoint, there was not an opportunity to build a culture. And that's really what we focused on the last couple of years is trying to build a culture, give the boys something to be proud of, give the Ace community something to be proud of. I think we've gotten to a point where everybody looks forward to coming out on Friday nights. We've got as good an atmosphere as I've been a part of in high school anywhere I've been, and that's exciting for the boys, for the coaches, for our community. And, if we can continue to win some football games, hopefully that'll continue to grow.
And we see people walking around with shirts that have LEO written on them. I hear people asking, what does that mean? Talk about what that stands for and how you brought that to the program.
Okay, so LEO is something that's kind of stuck with our program. I actually stole it from someone, but to be honest, it stands for Love Each Other. A quarterback who played with me years ago. Now plays for University of Indiana, and that is their mantra. That's on everything that they have within their field house, within their program. And he began to tell me about it, and he said that really has brought their program together. It's something that players buy into. When you love each other, you play harder for each other. It's more important to do well for each other. To hold each other accountable, and it drew them closer together. So we've embraced that as well, and our guys talk about it, say it every day. WMAZ came and did a special on it recently, so it's become something that is a huge part of what we're trying to do. Not that it may seem a little odd that men are talking about loving each other on a daily basis. That's not something you hear every day, but when you dig down into it and think about the meaning of it, why you do it, why you love each other, why you love the guys in the locker room with you, it's pretty exciting, and it's been something that we've really been able to build on.
All right, Coach, let's talk about what's going on right now. Friday night, huge upset. Spencer upset Northeast. You've got goals back in front of you again. Of course, we've got Southwest Thursday night. But Spencer coming in the next 2 weeks. If we can get things done Thursday night, we've got a shot at the region. Talk about your goals for this year and what you've got still in front of you.
Well, coming into the year, the first goal is always to make the postseason. But our goal was to be region champs, and now with Northeast being defeated last week, we have an opportunity to do that. We're not thinking about Spencer right now, though. We know we've got to play well against a good Southwest team. Southwest is much improved really good offensively. They've got a lot of weapons, so we've got to stay focused on Thursday. But it is exciting that one of our primary goals is back into play.
Okay. All right, so again, I apologize. Y'all aren't going to be able to see the plays that are running, but you'll see it on the feed later. All right, Keith.
About that.
It'd be nice if the referees would let us know. Scarberry, where Bryce Whitley caught a long touchdown bomb from Scarberry. Talk about how that play was designed.
Well, Coach Dara, where is Coach Dara? There he is. Coach Dara has done a great job. Coach Faraba, our offensive guys, of putting together schematically opportunities for our guys to make plays. One thing that we've struggled with early on is a lot of people were doubling Bryce because of his past success. So one of the things we've had to do is move him around to get him in different places where they can't always put two over the top of him. And in that particular formation, they were stacked, which makes it difficult to double someone over the top if you're in a stacked look. And he was able to get loose, which he often does. But Caleb really made that play. He did a great job of moving around in the pocket, stepped up under pressure, and made a great throw over the middle. But those guys did a great job of setting Bryce and Caleb up to make that play.
And speaking of Scarberry setting up a play, this next play that we're running is the one where your son, Ace Hatcher, ended up wide open in the end zone. Talk about how Scarberry made that play happen, and talk about what it's like watching your son scoring touchdowns for us on Friday nights.
I'll plead the fifth on that. I don't really. He knows I love him, but I don't claim him as my son when I'm coaching him. So it was a good play. Caleb again did a great job. It was a play where he had pressure on him in the pocket, stepped up, and by moving around, some guys were able to create some space. And Ace was open in the end zone for the wide open touchdown. But that was another great play by Caleb.
All right, and the final play we're showing is the last touchdown of the night, where Bryson Vincent basically ran untouched right through the middle. Great blocking, and it looked like y'all had worn Rutland down at that point.
Yeah, I think that was a point where Coach Dara and the offensive guys knew that we had worn them down. We kind of knew one more score really would put the thing away, and we were trying to run some clock in the process. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we ran the ball 4 or 5 straight plays there. And Bryson made a great run, made a little cut, and was basically untouched. And he's done that for us all season. So that was a great way to kind of, put the nail in the coffin and close the game out.
All right, so we're going to open it up to the audience for questions for Coach Hatcher. Keep it clean, please. But JT, he's got the mic up here. Would anyone like to come up here and ask Coach Hatcher a question?
Come on.
Please do it now. JT, do you have a question?
I'm about to just go up to people and stick a microphone in their face and see if they have any questions.
Well, I just don't want it screeching at us. Seriously, not one question. Come on. I feel like an auctioneer. Oh, here we go. Ask Keith for some dressing. All right, somebody help us out here. Come on, at least one. Well, if that's going to be it, I think Keith has one other thing he wants to talk about.
I'm gonna embarrass my wife, Ashley, Ashley Hatcher. That's my beautiful wife, Ashley. If y'all hadn't met her, who is my best friend and biggest supporter, and today is her birthday. She turned 29 today, looking better than ever. But thankful for her spending her birthday with me on Ace Football Night. I also was not aware that that you were going to call this the Keith Hatcher Show. I thought it was Ace Football Night. So we'll stick with Ace Football.
Hey, Coach, we did have one question from the audience here. Said if we win out, if we beat Southwest there on Thursday night, followed up with Spencer, with a victory over Spencer, we got a 3-way tie. What goes into factoring that 3-way tiebreaker for the region?
So, again, we're focused on Southwest this week, so we're trying not to think ahead to that. But if we're fortunate enough to win out, basically we would be co-region champions, three-way tie, and they would go to some form of point differential as far as the seeding in the playoff goes. So we'll think about that more next week, but we would have to win by a substantial amount of points to be able to host and get that number 1 seed.
Anybody else got any questions for Coach Hatcher?
Lewis, Carly Yates. Jake. Well, we're gonna have some of our other coaches come up. Coach Faraba's up next, and then Coach Dara. But I just want to thank everybody again. This is a great crowd. Shows the amount of support that we receive on a weekly basis. We're very thankful for that. And thank you again, Chris. Greatly appreciate what you're doing tonight.
Thank you, Coach Hatcher. Appreciate you sitting down and talking with us. All right, we're going to bring up Coach Mark Faraba to the table. Please help me welcome Coach Faraba. Thank you for joining us. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who've been in a cave for a long time, this is Coach Mark Faraba. He's been coaching in Middle Georgia and also other parts of Georgia for, 4 decades, I suppose, right? He coached at FPD and won a state championship in football in 1985. Played for another one in 1989. And Ace is very lucky to have him. Coach, talk a little bit about the process of you coming over to Ace. Tell us a little about how that happened.
Well, it really was a blessing. It worked out just perfectly because I had talked to Coach Hatcher about when he came over to Ace and thought that this was really a great place. Matter of fact, I told somebody at the previous school I was working at that if I was young, this would be the place that I would want to coach. And it just so worked out that my situation changed and Coach Hatcher got in touch with me and said, what do you think? Let's do this. And I was like, heck yeah, man, let's do it. So I was very fortunate to have him to be able to work it all out for me, and I've loved it. It's been a tremendous blessing for me and for my wife, Ellie. She can tell you that too.
So talk a little bit about what you do, your duties as a coach when you're on the sideline and during the week during practice.
Well, my primary duties are to coach the offensive line, get offensive line ready to play, coach outside linebackers. And it's funny because I get to, during the games, I've never been able to do this. I've had to, for the most part, be a head coach. And so you're involved all the time. Now, when the offense comes off the field, I can go over on the side. They hand me an iPad. I'm looking at every single play we just ran. I'm talking to them about what we did and what we didn't do and everything. And I told a buddy of mine last week, I sure am glad we didn't have that when I was playing. But for the most part, it's just, I can just have fun coaching again, and it's been great.
So, like we said, you coached in the 80s, 90s, and the GIS and 70s. Of course, the GISA was kind of a different animal back then than it is now. Talk about the changes you've seen in high school football since then.
Well, the biggest change that I've seen in high school football, like I started, my first year was 1979, coaching in high school. So the game has gone from being played in a small box to being played all over the field. It's just spread out. It's wide open. There's a lot more, obviously there's a lot more passing. but it's just become such a sideline to sideline, horizontal and vertical stretch game that it's just basically opened up the whole field.
Gotcha. And talk a little bit about what we're going to see from Southwest Thursday night.
Well, Thursday night from Southwest, you know, offensively, like Coach Hatcher said, they got a really dynamic quarterback. They got a very dynamic wide receiver. Really good in the throwing game. Defensively, they're good up front. They're real aggressive up front, and you know, they've played much better this year and have had a lot of success, or more success than they've had. So this is a big game for them because they're trying to get into the playoffs as well. But it's, you know, it's a bigger game for us, to me, because it gives us a chance to really get where we want to get. So it's a real opportunity for us Thursday night.
All right, and so tell me, you think you'd ever be a head coach again, or are you happy where you're at?
Well, I'm very happy where I'm at, I will tell you that. I learned a long time ago not to never say never, but I don't know that many people are in the market for a 67-year-old head coach. So, you know, I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. I love the guys that I coach with. The players have been fantastic, just super guys. You know, this is the happiest I've been coaching in a while, so I'm pretty settled right now. As long as I can play pickleball on the weekends, we're good.
Talk about the pickleball.
Well, my wife and I play. We started playing about 3 years ago. She's my mixed doubles partner. We're playing in a tournament noon and Sunday. There's not a single pair of these football players that could go out and beat us, I can tell you that.
Sounds like a challenge, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, let's open it up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions for Coach Faraba? I mean, just one. Oh, here we go. We got one right here, JT.
Pickleball career. Tell me about it.
Well, I would love to be on the senior pickleball circuit. I would love to do that, but I'm afraid I'm a little bit too old for that. But I would love to give that a shot. So, you know, who knows? But I like to play.
Coach, I had a question from an audience member that asked, could you expound on the differences between the GISA and the GHSA?
Well, I think the biggest difference between the GISA and the GHSA is you just have a much bigger pool of better teams. You know, I think the best teams in the GISA are good, and they're good enough to play. You know, they are good enough to play in the Georgia High School Association. I mean, Coach Hatcher coached the Mountain Sales when they were GHSA. You know, I've been in the GHSA. But in our league, there's so many more good teams, and it's harder to get farther in the playoffs in the GHSA than it was in the other league.
All right, anybody else? All right, well, hey, Coach Faraba, thank you very much for joining us. Oh, we got one more? Oh, here we go.
All right. Coach, who do you think is the most difficult person to watch on film?
The most difficult to watch on film? Well, it varies from day to day, William. But you've had a good run this week, I'll tell you that.
Like the lawyers say, watch what you ask and know how they're going to answer it. All right, well, if we don't have any more questions, anyone? All right, well, Coach Faraba, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we're going to bring up Coach Thomas Dara to finish out the night. And if y'all don't mind, try and quiet down a little bit, please. It's a little hard to hear up here. Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us. All right, well, Coach, I just want to start off with tell us about where you were before you came to Ace, and what was the process of coming here and joining Coach Hatcher.
Yeah, I started working for Waffle House, actually. I was a area vice president for Waffle House. I had 18 restaurants all over the country, ranging from Atlanta to Denver, Colorado. And I was engaged at the time with my wife, Jenna. We decided, we got to find a place to find a home. My brother-in-law was here. He's a spine surgeon here, so we felt like Macon was the place for us to be. So he made arrangements with one of his good friends who's now a great mentor to me. It's Jamie Dickey. He's actually a coach at Brentwood Academy, but he got me a job with Five Star. So I ran Five Star service departments as a service manager. Had the one in Macon off of Riverside Drive, and had one out in Warner Robins. And the wheels were turning. Jamie, went to Charlie and said, "Hey, I'm ready to coach," and it kind of clicked in my head that it's always been a dream of mine to coach football. So I came and I interviewed with Miss Perkins and talked with Jason Stevens and Sam Zanders, who were the coaches at the time, and I felt like I could help out the organization. And lo and behold, here we are now, 4 years later now, and it's been a great run so far.
So talk about what your weekly, schedule is like. Talk about what Monday is like when you're preparing for an opponent. What's the step-by-step process on that?
Well, really, the week starts Sunday about 12 o'clock with a big bucket of Popeyes and film. So Coach Hatcher and I and Coach Sco, we meet at 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock on Sundays. He'll bring a box of chicken for us to eat on, and we'll break down the film from Friday night, and then we'll move on to our opponent. We'll stay up there for 5-6 hours grinding on some film and breaking down what will work, what we can take into the game, and kind of schematically think about what we want to run to beat our next opponents.
Speaking of the next opponent, we've got Southwest coming up. I know Coach Farabee and Coach Hatcher talked about it a little bit, but you're the offensive coordinator. Talk about what you've seen from Southwest on defense on film.
We're going to do what we do from the start. We're gonna run the football. We're going to try to get the football in our playmakers' hands. They run some two high safeties, so we've got some cover two beaters, and we think they're going to man up on Bryce and play over the top. So we might get our other guys some shots. There's some few wrinkles and some special plays that we'll run, so we're excited to show those. But I think if we play our football and run the plays that we have and just stick with the fundamentals and our rules, I think we'll be just fine.
All right. Well, what else do you do besides coach at Ace?
Well, I do a lot. I try to help Coach Avery out in the weight room, but I have many hats that I wear. I try to help out as much as I can, just to try to make Ace a better place. And every single day I think what can we do better, and just try to find things to do throughout the day. I also right now my life is meshing together with football, and then I've got my other family at home, and then now we're just cranking up basketball. So we've had the last 2 weeks we've had junior high basketball tryouts, and yesterday and today we started varsity basketball tryouts. So life really doesn't slow down until about the end of February, and then it's right back to spring football.
All right. Well, we're going to open it up for coaches for Coach Dara. Does anybody have anything they want to ask the coach? Come on, players, where are you at? Step up. Here's your chance to put the coach in the spotlight. Anything, guys? Come on. There we go. Mr. Riddell.
Coach Derek, can you talk about your relationship with Schofield?
You know, Sco gets a lot of grief from you guys, and that guy works harder than anybody in this room, right? So really, that guy's my right-hand man. So if we need something done, we're going to that guy right there. And he gets a lot of grief from the players and people throughout, but we really couldn't do it without the guy. I mean, he keeps us fed, you know, but he does a lot of great things for Ace, and we're fortunate to have him.
All right, thanks for the question. Anyone else have a question for Coach Dara? All right. Anyone? Is that it? All right. Well, look, folks. If there's no more questions, that's going to be the end of the night. Coach Hatcher, Coach Faraba, thank you so much. Coach Hatcher, you want to come up and say one more thing?
Let's thank these guys for putting this on for us tonight. Steve and JT and John, thank you guys. Greatly appreciate it, man. Thank y'all. Thank you, Chris. Thank you all for coming out. We're greatly appreciative of your support.
All right, well, just remember, we're streaming every game on the NFHS app, okay? That stands for National Federation of High Schools. And what happened with that was last year they went around, they put cameras like on the press box of the football fields and the gyms, and they did it at the baseball and softball fields that actually had a press box. We didn't have one last year. We have one now. We have a great one now. Hopefully we're going to be getting one put there. But JT and I, we decided that earlier this year we're going to give this a go, and we're really trying hard to do every game and try and make it classy. And I have to tell you, we're in control of the computer in our press box. We are not in control of the computers in Thomas Stadium, Ed DeFore, and some of the other stadiums where maybe they don't care so much about the broadcast as we do. And I'm not trying to break my arm, pat myself on the back, but I got to tell you, and JT will tell you, they don't go out of their way to help us. So on the away games, even if it's a neutral site, bear with us if the feed isn't very good or the sound isn't very good. We're not getting any help from non-Ace people, I'll just tell you that. Either way, we're going to have the game Thursday night. I don't think JT's going to be able to make it because his son's got a big playoff football game, so I'll be riding solo. But either way, we'll both be with you next Friday night when we play Spencer. And I really want to ask that everybody please get to that home game. It's going to be huge. But if you can't be there, obviously we'll be broadcasting it. But please ask your grandparents and your family and that sort of thing that don't live around here that can't make it. Let them know about the stream. It's only $11.99 per month, and you can cut it off after a month. But, I mean, think about what you'd pay to go all the games, right? So either way, again, want to thank Chris and Matt Gilliam for having us here tonight. Thank you, John LaBello, for setting this up. There's no way JT and I could have done this ourselves. I don't know if we'll do another show this year, but we'll definitely do one next year and maybe more. So, again, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and sign off, and everybody have a great night.